start with our session on SSAS tabular. Okay, so for to work on our SSAS tabular modeling, we need AdventureWorks data warehouse. Okay, so before that, you can download it from web. Just Google it like AdventureWorks DW. Or if you are unable to find, then let me know. I will give you the required link. Okay, so I have restored that database in our SQL. Okay, so as you can see here, we have AdventureWorks DW. Okay, so on this data we will be starting with cube preparation. Okay, so the source for our SSAS tabular will be this AdventureWorks tables. Okay, so you can download this DW from Google, from the web. Okay, if you feel any kind of difficulty, so let me know. I will provide you the file or the link from where you can download. So next we will be starting with, so what are the different tasks we are going to do with this SSAS tabular. So first task one, so we did in last class like how to create a model and how to create a project in our SSAS tabular using Visual Studio. Okay, so obviously we will do that again, and we will we will proceed step by step, like adding data source, and before adding we will filter the data, and then we will rename the columns as per our requirement. And there is a task 4 which is saying like we will have a date table, so we will mark that date table as a date table, so which means that is pointing SQL SSAS to treat this date table as a date dimension table. Okay, so that it will optimize that table to be a timeline or to be the uh, time axis. And after that, obviously we will have more than 2-3 tables in our cube, so obviously there must be some relationship, so we will create that relationship. We will see how to edit if anything is wrong, and after that we will have calculated columns, and we will create the measures. Okay, so let's do it step by step, and obviously we will discuss it while we will be creating our demo. So coming to the Visual Studio part. So this is not very difficult task. Modeling data in SSAS tabular is quite easy if you are familiar with Excel, which means if you have worked, obviously you have worked on some Excel part, and there you have created some pivot tables. Okay, so in the same way we will have here. So how the data will be in the queue. Okay, so let's start with the existing project which we created yesterday. So it's taking time, so wait for it. Okay, so yesterday we created our sample tabular project, and there we created a model, which means in a tabular project there must be a model.bim, which means we are doing a modeling of data, preparation of data, so there will be have a model file, and the extension of that file will be the .bim. Okay, so should I do it again, or we will should I will continue with it? If you people want to do it again, then I can.
It's your wish.
Okay, so There is nothing when you create a new project there you will have a just provide the SSAS server. Okay, so the step which we did last day, like whenever you create a SSAS project, then you need to have SSAS server, and that should be running in that tabular mode. Okay, so without that you cannot have, without this analysis services, you cannot start working with the uh, tabular modeling. So this Visual Studio uses that analysis server as a scratch pad before you deploy that. So you can see here like sample tabular underscore Sanjay, which means we created some project with my ideas, and the name of that project is sample tabular. So it has created a sample database in our tabular model, and that you can see here. So before deploying, you will have this GUI ID. So ignore this. Coming back to this, now we will add some data to this model. As we have next step as task 2 is adding data to the model. The model or cube is similar. Okay, so most of the time we will call it as a modeling of data. So in this window, you will have this icon, import data, in the right top corner, or you can have that from when you go to this model. Okay, so there is a model tab, and from that you can have this import data. Okay, or if you are finding the same icon in this next taskbar, so you can use that also. So let's use this model tab, and from there you can find the import from data source. So obviously this SSAS cube can import data from some more than SQL, which means it can import data from Azure services or some Access database, Oracle, and whatever are the sources. It depends on your uh, data warehouse, like your data warehouse is deployed on some Oracle database or Sybase or anything. So it can import that data from that type of source. So at present we are having, yes, it can also import from text and Excel sheet also. So but for our present demo, we are going to import data from SQL Server.
Sanjay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So in the DW will store, it is kind of database like, but it stores historical data, right? So it is database, right? So when creating the analytical services, it should pull from data warehouse. So it will be database, right? I mean the tables and everything. So
Yes, 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 exactly.
in Excel or text file in the data warehouse, right?
No, that we are saying here like this SSAS can import data from other sources
Okay.
also. It has
Oh,
capability to connect to the other data sources also. Okay,
okay.
but for now, as we are using this data warehouse, AdventureWorks data warehouse as our source. Okay, so we have
Okay.
all pre-prepared data here, and on which we will create our cube. Okay, so
Okay.
what we can we are having in this import table that this SSAS has capability to import data from other sources also. So it doesn't there might be some case like user will give you data like in text file. So he will tell like all the sources, all the tables are available in this data warehouse. Okay, and that
Mm-hmm.
will be on SQL Server. But he will give you some mapping table like use this. We want this table also. So in that case, we can use this Excel file. So
Okay.
primary sources will be our data warehouse. But in some cases, as per the business requirement, like they want to do some mapping, so they can use this Excel source also.
Okay.
Okay, so let's import the data from this SQL Server. So I'm doing nothing but just I'm redirecting this window to from where you will fetch the data. Okay, so the credential to which it will log in, which means we are using Windows authentication, and from the server is our local database, and from that local database we are using AdventureWorks DW. So click next. So here impersonation information we need to provide. Okay, so as we are in developing mode, so we are using that our credential, but after deploying that queue, so that the server will ask like with whom credential you want to access the data from the source. So which means we are providing impersonate information. So here you can provide the username. uh, I will provide the same username which I am logged in. So the domain and my name is same here. Okay, so now we'll have like option of if you have a query from for a data source, so you can write a query as well as you can write you can select the list of tables. So I'm just going with the list of tables. Now it will populate the list of tables from that data warehouse. Okay, so these are the tables and views from that data warehouse, and I have a list of tables for which we will be starting. So we will take dem customer, dem date, dem geography. So let's select it one by one. Dem customer I want, dem date I want, dem geography, dem product category. So it's up to you, like with which table you want to prepare a queue. So obviously we are going to do with some sales thing. So according to that, I'm selecting the tables, and that will be your choice. It's not like fixed, like you have to select these tables. You can select as per your requirement. In product category, then product subcategory, and factory internet sales. Okay, so we are having these tables. So as you can see here, our data warehouse, the name prefixed with a div, these are the dimensions. Okay, so div geography will have the dimension of the location type of information, and this dim date will have all the date dimension like month, year, week, quarter, and all. And obviously the customer will have the information about customers, and what we will have in fact is about the factual data, which means what are the total count of orders, what was the order ID, what was the sale amount of that order. So fact internet sales will contain all the factual data, which means the numerical value. Most of the column will have numerical type of data or integer type of data on which we can have aggregations. Okay, so we can directly import the whole table, but we have an option of preview and filter. So we will select only required columns before pulling the whole data. So I am just I'm in preview and select required columns. So I have selected this factory internet sales, and from that we can select the required columns only according to our cube requirement. So here you can like product key will be required. So suppose some column you do not want into your queue, like for this you don't want this courier tracking number, so simply untick from here. You will have a checkbox, so this column will be not fetched to your queue. Okay, or if you want like some filters on the data, like we do in the where clause of our T-SQL, you can have in the same way after before equal to, as this column is this is a date column. Okay, so in the same way you can have, but for from fact I want all columns. So let's remove only one row here, one column here, and click OK. So we have applied filters and preview with the fact internet. Let's come back to this some other table. Select this and then preview and apply filter. So we are before importing data, which means we are preparing the data to be imported. Customer alternate key. So I don't want the number of cars on in the house details. I don't want this. So you can select like these. In the same way you can do from other tables also. Let's do this for the geography also. It doesn't mean like you have to do it in the first step. You can come back to this step also after importing the data to your queue. These steps are like you can have, you can edit it again.
Okay.
So I'm finishing it, so which means now it will load the data to my queue. So one by one it will process the table.
I was wondering, so
Hmm.
here you have taken from the one database, so that's why it can get connected with the primary and foreign key relationship. So if
No,
choose Excel or text file, how they will get connected, on what
hold a
basis?
second. We have that point in our tutorial, like
Okay,
create relationship. Okay, so
okay.
we will come to this.
And in real time, without a data warehouse, any small organizations, do they use this concept? I mean, they directly pull from, they'll just
Yes, 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 yes. You
take
can
the
you can
data.
directly pull from other tables also. It doesn't. It's like you need to have data warehouse. As you can see, data warehouse is nothing but we are renaming these tables, group of tables as a data warehouse. But they are in an organized fashion, which means all the tables should have either the table will be a dimension or it will be a fact, nothing else.
Okay,
Okay, so these are like pre-prepared data. But if you do not have any kind of data warehouse, then you can directly build the data on this database also. Like these are not pre-prepared or these are not properly organized. So if you know how to connect the different tables, you can prepare a cube on that data also.
okay.
And closing it. So now you will have all the tables here. Okay, so dim customer, dim date. So there will be a tab as you see in the Excel sheet. Okay, so here when I switch to the diagram view from this right middle corner, then now we will have a diagram view like this model is containing these numbers of table and how they are connected. As you were saying, like these tables are having primary and foreign key in our data warehouse, so they are already pre-connected. Okay, but if we do not have that connection, so how we will do that? Okay, so for now I will delete all these relationships and I will try to recreate it. Then you will have a clear idea, like if we have a unprepared or if you have a raw data, then how to create a queue on that. Okay, So I'm just zooming in. Okay. So let's take two table, or if you want to see like how the tables are connected, so you have a table tab here. Okay. So when you go to this table tab, you can create or manage relationship, which means when we click on the manage relationship, it will list down the all existing relationship in our model. So when you click on it, so a new window will open, and there you will have all the relationship, which means whatever the lines we are having here, they are connected on these table and with columns. So as for example, you can see here, like everything is connected on the key value, like being customer is connected to geography table using geography key, and most of them are connected with fact table. So let's close all. Sorry, I want to delete all the relationship so that we can have. So now I'm deleting all the relationship, and we will see like how we will, if we know like the two tables will be connected on some key value, then how to create a connection between them and how to manage them, and what are the what are the possible relationship. Are you people are familiar with the one to many and many to one and many to many relationship?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have those kind of information, then it will be easy to understand the relationship. So the one disadvantage of this tabular modeling is like you cannot create many to many relationship here. So it will only take one to many or many to one.
But it's not recommended, right? I mean, in my database, whatever, in my course, the professor told me that you never should use like many to many relationship. You always should split the table so that it will be like a one to many relationship.
Yes, yes. That is a perfect way to create a relationship, but in real situation, in real time, you will not have like this situation. Like you will not have like one to many. You will have
Okay.
like many to many situations. Then how will you debug that? Obviously, there is a way around for it, and the way around is like we will create a unique column in between. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then we will create a relationship on the same one to many and one to many. Okay,
Mm.
so we will see. Okay, so now we have all the tables. I will try to close this window so that we have maximum view. Okay, so here we have fact internet, including customer. I'm just arranging it. So as you can see here, like we have our order date key. Okay, so I want to see the whole data. Suppose this fact internet sales is all data we are having is related to some sales value, which means we have a web page, and from there we are having this data. Okay, so there will be some date value, order date value, and there will be some amount and all these things. So I want to slice this data. I want to view this data on a dimension, and that dimension we call as a dim date, which means on the timeline. So we will just connect that order date key with this order date key. So as you can see here, like this green bar is showing the progress. Okay, so it is connecting, creating a relationship. How, why it is taking time? Then it will automatically decide like which column has unique value and which column has duplicate value. And the dot point here represents that these tables, fact, internet, cells, and the column name date, order date key in that fact internet cell have duplicate values. The dot point of the relationship represents that this column have duplicate values. Okay, obviously on a single day we can have more than one order. So suppose there are 4 orders from a same day, then we'll have the 4 order date at the same value. Okay, so suppose on the 1st of July we'll have 4 orders, so then obviously we will have 4 rows in this table, fact internet sales.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why it is saying like this point, dot point is representing duplicate values in this column. And in date dimension we will have only one row for that 1st July. Okay, so we are connecting that 1st July with this 4 values here in this column. So, and the direction, this arrow represents the one value, which means mm, one to many, this many to one. Okay, so this arrow is saying like this column has unique value. So you can say like this dim date will have this date key as a primary key column.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we created a relationship between this order date and fact internet sales. Now let's see how all the tables are connected. We can expand it somewhat. So here we have product key, okay, and here also we have product key, which means here this fact internet will have details about the order. So obviously on the 1st July we got, so for example we got four orders, then obviously that will have some product details with that. Okay, so we will connect that in with product key to this product key dimension of the product. Now it is scanning the whole data in the fact internet and in the dim product, and then it will decide like which column has unique and which column has duplicate value. If it finds like this column has also made duplicate value and this product key has also duplicate value, then then it will throw an error like we cannot create many to many relationship here. Okay, so but for now the data source which we are taking here is having our pre-prepared data, which means all the tables and all the dimensions have been pre-prepared, which means this dimension will have this key value as a unique value. Okay, so that's why we are not getting that one many to many kind of thing here. Okay, so now again see like customer, there should be customer key in the both tables. Here we also have customer key, and in the same way included the Indian customer. So actually we are creating a star schema. Are you familiar with the star schema or snowflake schema of the of a data warehouse?
Yes.
So that kind of thing we are creating here. So as you can see, like this dim geography is connected to this dim customer, not directly with fact.
Then it will be snowflake schema, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And this dim product and dim product category, where we should have something like that. Product category key. These three tables should be interrelated, and before that we need to find a key column between them. product subcategory key, and here also we have product subcategory key. So we will create on this. So before preparing a queue, you should have knowledge on the data, like how the data, what is the data diagram, how the tables are interconnected. Without that, you cannot decide like this product key is connected with this key, and this product category key that we have.
So here, like now the dimension, the product key subcategory is connected via product dimension, product table, right?
Yes.
So
Which means this internet sales is a factual table, and on that we have this dim product. Okay, and then it is further connected to the upper layer of the product subcategory, and the upper layer of this subcategory is the product category.
so in any case, in order to connect fact and the product subcategory dimension table, I have to use the product dimension table, right?
Yes, this table.
Yes.
You will only get data according to this category using this. Okay, so the how the filter will flow. Okay, hold a second, I will write you right against the arrow. Okay, so
Okay.
this will filter this subcategory, and this subcategory will filter this dim product, and this dim product will filter this fact internet. Okay,
Okay.
so it's not like this fact internet sales will filter the product category. It will not do like that. Okay, so you can think like against the arrow you can apply the filter flow. Okay, so in a product category you will have so many uh, more than 2 or 4 subcategories, and in that subcategory we will have more than one product, and in that product you can have more than one order ID. Okay.
Okay. So, is it not necessary to, for particular, I mean, for each table to have a primary key?
Yes, obviously this arrow is showing like the to which column it is connected is a primary key. It
Uh,
has unique value.
so the fact table will not have a primary key, right?
Yes, obviously, because it will always contain duplicates.
Okay. I didn't know
But
that actually.
here we will have one unique key, and that column will be order ID.
Okay.
Okay, so the order ID will be unique in this fact internet sales. Obviously, you cannot have 2 rows for a single order.
Yes.
Okay, so each table will have its own kind of a primary key and foreign key.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm switching back to the diagram. Okay, so now you have seen like how these tables are and how they are connected. And if you watch it something like very precisely, you will have something here how they are connected. In the names you will have like 1 2 1 2. Okay, and for others you will not find that thing in the column name. So whenever you will find this thing 1 and 2 into their column name, then obviously it shows like this column is connected with some other column. So when you will hover them, you will have a quick look like related to column customer key in fact table, and this geography is connected to geography dim. Okay, so
Okay.
this custom customer is connected with 2 tables. So when you will switch back to the diagram, you will find like this dim customer is connected with 2 tables. So one with the dim geography and one with the fact, obviously. Okay. So now we have prepared a small queue. We are good to go with. Okay, but obviously we will not have this kind of cube. Obviously we will prepare, or we will create some more calculated columns and calculated fields. So as I have discussed last day, like below this gray line, okay, we call this region as a field region, calculated measures. From here we create calculated measures. And what is the difference between calculated measure and calculated column? So calculated column uh, will have a value per row, which means for each row, calculated column will have a value. So what is calculated column? You can think of like a derived column from that SSIS. Okay, so add a column. Here you will have the calculated column, which means we are deriving this column on our some calculations. There must be some calculation, and the calculated column will have many values, which means it will have one value per row. Okay, but the calculated field will have a single value throughout the cube. Okay, suppose you have created like uh, count of rows, count of orders. Okay, so that will, here you will have only one cell value. That will be not like if you have 1 million rows, then it will not like it will be only one digit value. One not one digit, it will have a single string value. Okay, so let's see in step by step like how we will do that.
Okay.
And now we are left with this mark date table. Okay, so we done like create relationship, how to create relationship, and this thing also rename columns. And obviously one more thing, you cannot edit any data. Like if you want to have this value, like you want to replace this color kill with some other value, you cannot do that in SSAS. Okay, so you cannot edit source data. Okay, so they are in only read only mode, which means if you want to like replace this employee with some other value, you cannot do that. In fact, you cannot filter the data here. To do that, like if you want to filter, again you will have to go to this table and this table properties, and again you will have the same window on which we were having while we were fetching the data. So if you want to edit the things again, so here also you can select deselect the columns, and you can apply filters. Okay, so after this you cannot edit the data in this model. Okay, so what is left is what is calculated columns and measures. Okay, so suppose we will find something, and before that, so what I was talking about, this mark as a date table. So just navigate to this dim date and tell this cube like this dim date is a date table. Then it will optimize the whole cube according to this dim date, which means obviously we will have like calculated columns and measure that will use this date dimension. Okay, so in that way you can see like when we define this dim date as a mark as a date table, then we are optimizing this cube, so it will not look for a date value in other columns. We are just telling this property like from this table, date key is a unique in this date key column has unique value from this dim date. As it is saying that selected column is not valid selection either, it contains duplicate values, or it's is not of the data type. Okay, so as you can see here, I was redirecting this window to take this date key as a unique value, but its data type is integer. How will you know that? Here you will have a property window. So there should be some. Okay, I think in next class I will find the data type of this column, like how I know like the date key has a integer value. But I know it's an integer value, you can watch on it, but tomorrow I will show you like from where we will find the data type of each column. Okay, so but obviously this alternate key is a unique value, but it has a value as a date value, date type. So data type of this alternate date key is date. So now we will go to this table date and mark this table as a date, and from here you will select this full date alternate key. So the requirement is this column should have a unique value, and the next requirement its data type should be date. Okay. Now it's okay to go. Okay. As you can see, this green bar is showing us the progress. So we did like we imported the data. We can rename there also. We can mark we have marked a date table. Now we have done create relationship. Now we'll do a quick walk on this calculated column and calculated measure. Okay, so suppose there I'm coming to this dim customer, so we'll do a very basic calculated column kind of work. Here we should have first name and last name. Okay, so as you can see, this is a first name and last name. Here you will not find any column with full name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want a column like there should be a column with the full name. So just click on this last. So slide it to the right, and here you will have add column. Just click on the first cell, double click on it, and here the formula bar will be active. So click equal to, and the column name which I will use. Slide right, select this. So you will see like in the formula bar we have automatically selected this first name, and now to actually we will be concatenate this first name and last name. So you can have like simply put a plus sign and redirect to the next column and click enter. As it is working for the all rows. Okay, so we are having some error here. So what we did is we to write the formula you need to have knowledge about DAX, data analysis expression. Okay, so I will provide you a quick I think the page size of that PDF is 30 pages are there. So please go through that PDF, and obviously we will discuss on that also, which means I will provide basics on the DAX. Okay, so we are here we are having some error. Okay, so that our errors always should be like we cannot add two strings. The data type of this name, first name and last name is string data type. So for that we need to use concate function. Here in this, as you can see, I was just typing the concat. So the IntelliSense of this cube is popping out the related formula, like you concrete you can have here, and when you hover to that, it will give you a brief introduction like joins two text strings into one text string. So just select this formula, not a formula, it's a function. And now I am saying like the first text will be the first from the first column, and after the for second just provide a comma in between the second column to which you want to concatenate. So now close the bracket and now click enter. So now we are working on the calculated column. Okay, so now you can see here like Franklin, Raji, and there is no space in between them. Okay, so for that, first rename this column. Just right click on the column and here you can rename it. I think concat will only take two text. Let's try if it takes any. So as the data is like the rows, number of rows we are having here is very big. It's not small. So again, I was trying to add a space in between them. So I was just adding a next text into this formula, but it is saying like it will not take third text value in the concat function. So for that we will have a workaround.
Can you put space after the comma? Does it work?
No, I think it will not work because concat will only take two text values.
Yeah, but space and the column name, does it work like that? Can you put just direct space?
Into this, because here we are directing the column, we are taking the column name,
Mm-hmm.
so it will not work like that, like you if you want to as we do in SQL. So yes, obviously we will provide in your into next class like how to insert a space between that name. Okay, so obviously there will we will have a different function how to uh, concat two strings. I think there is some web function I was just forgetting. So give me a second, I will do that. I think for that we use AND value.
Otherwise, use two concatenate functions.
Yes,
But
we can work with the workarounds like you can nest two concat functions.
yes.
Okay, so I know I was earlier using plus sign, so we can use this function also. So let's I'm not I will not use this concat function. I will use this AND. So that AND is used as a to join the strings value. So now we are working with the DEX, basics of the DEX, and some space. Now you got the formula like we are taking to this column for each row, it will take first name and some string with here I have provided a space and with the double inverted comma and the last name. Now I will press enter. Now you can have a look on this like we are having a space in between them. Okay, So now we got two methods, like how to use the and fun and say sign, and how to use the concat function to join the two strings. Okay, and we are doing with this calculate function the basic use of calculate column. Okay, so these before these columns, these are the columns from the source, and from the this data we are deriving a new column here. Okay, by simply double click on it and in the formula bar type equal to and write your formula. Okay, and now how to calculate a simple measure is obviously like total count of customers or total orders. Okay, so if you want to count the total orders, you need to be in this fact internet sales. Obviously the order ID we will be having here. Okay, so try to find that order ID column. Maybe I product customer promotion key. Sales order number. Here we have this column sales order number. So we want a measure here with the count of orders. So that will represent the total count of orders. So obviously in our reporting we will having like what are the total number of sales. So the advantage of using this cube is we can pre-calculate that aggregations. So for that, double click on this field region before this below this gray line, and that then after that this formula bar will be active and provide some name to this field measure. Let it be like count underscore orders. And now you need to provide like um, after which, so you will provide like semicolon equal to. After this sign, you will write the formula, and before that it will treat as a name of that measure. So I want like simple count of the sales order column. So simply type COU. Now it will populate the different functions of the count. But for now we will use this basic function count. And obviously you can see here the count the numbers in a column. So just select it and provide the column name. So select redirect, select this and close the bracket for the count function and press enter. Here we are having some error. Okay, so this count function is will take the column name which have a numerical data type, but this order sales number is having string data type. So let's have some other function. Now you're having the required thing. As you can see, like for this whole cube, you are having 60,398 orders, and on that order you will have different dimensions. Okay, so we got a quick introduction about how to create calculated columns and how to create a basic measure and how to edit relationship. Okay, so up to now, is it clear like we did nothing very big, but we are just moving on a simple side? Okay, so obviously in our next class we will have some complex example like how to create indicators like key performance indicators, and that we call as a KPI, how to create hierarchy in our queue. Like obviously we know year will be the top layer, and after year we will have quarter, and then month, and then week, and then date. Okay, so how to get that hierarchy in our queue, and we will quickly analyze this whole data. Like if you connect this queue to some reporting tool, then how you will have uh, reporting on this data. So for that we will use like this analyze in Excel. So I will do that quickly. So very frequently we will be analyzing using this Excel. Okay, so obviously Excel is a quick analysis or it's a reporting tool. So for that you will use it. As for now, you will see like I have used that. I have clicked on that analyze in Excel. After that, it has opened the same cube here, and here you can watch like all the tables are here. So these are the tables which are there in our cube, and on that cube we connected this Excel, and from that data we can have a report. Like for example, we created this measure. When you select this, so it will automatically go to this value, and we can further bifurcate this, like from where we got this, or from which customer we got these orders. So we created some full name. So this thing is this column we derived in our cube. So select this. So now that the this that these two values are from the calculated column and calculated measure. So this count orders is a calculated measure, and we are just bifurcating that this number count of orders on customer name, through which customer we got what count of orders. So these kind of reporting we can plot in our charts, in our bar graph, in our different reporting tool. So here we will be very frequently using this Excel to analyze our cube, and which means we will be checking this whole queue as per our requirement, like we are getting the exact required queue or not. So up to now, is it clear like how to work on this SSES tabular modeling, how to import from the scratch data and to work on it, and how to create relationship on that, and how to create a basic derived column and calculated measure.
Yes.
Up to now, do you have any doubt? Like, if you people got any confusion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So here you have created one measure, right? The count of orders, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I create a report directly, I mean pulling the data from the data warehouse, not from this analytical whatever cube, not from here, directly
Mm-hmm.
from the data warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
So like how then I have to create the measure in that report also?
No, before that, you will create a column into the using some SQL statement like count this column. You will write this measure. So actually what we are doing here, we are using DEX function to count the uh, value in this order number. Okay, so
Okay.
we can write the same thing using SQL also. Okay, so there
Uh-huh.
we will add a column name, and we will provide that column name as a count of order, a count of this what is the exact name, sales order number. Okay, so obviously there must be some delay, there must be lag when we will create reporting directly on this cube, on this database, obviously, because we will have a T-SQL statement with count of orders, and that will take time to count if you have millions of record. Okay, but when we have that value in our queue, so what we are doing here is we are pre-calculating that value. So if a user or if a reporting tool want to use this thing, so it will use directly. It will not have to run the calculation, and that calculation is a count. So we are pre-calculating that. Okay, so we are pre-preparing that thing in our queue, and on that we can bifurcate as we were doing in this Excel. So obviously you can directly connect your report to this SQL, no doubt, but the optimization and performance will be better into the queue.
Mm.
Okay, and one more thing, why we use cube is like there are very high level of security we can provide in this queue. Okay, so it's not like that if you have a, because generally we provide the access on a backend source. We cannot do like we cannot provide some users to go to the source queue and access the data. That will make this database to work slowly, because suppose there are 100 users of the reporting, so they will ping this DW 100 times. So obviously this DW will be very slow. Okay, so it will respond very slowly. So we will not directly tell our reporting users to go to this queue. We are just creating an intermediate queue, and obviously that inter queue will have pre-calculated business points. Okay, so as in this presentation we discussed last day, like you can have direct reporting on this data warehouse as well as from this cube. And the advantage of cube is like it will very quickly respond to your business points. Okay, so but for now we are having count of orders, but in real time you will not have count of orders. You will have what is the change of sales from last year. Obviously to calculate that you will have a very big formula, like first count, first take the sum of amount from last year and take the sum of amount from this year and take a difference on that and calculate it. Okay, so in real time you will not have a very simple calculation. Okay,
Okay.
so just go through it. It's not like a mandatory to have reporting. You need to have this queue, but best practice is to have this queue if you have very big data. So the thing comes into an action, like if you have millions of record, then no user or no DBA will allow you to directly access on the source data warehouse. That will make SQL very slow to respond. Okay, so optimization part will recommend you to have this queue.
Okay. So will there be multiple cubes with different
Obviously,
tables?
exactly. You will have, because suppose in our big organization, you can have data from sales as well as from the different HR, so they can have, and that we call as a data mart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we will discuss on future classes like how to calculate complex queries or complex business points.
Okay.
Okay, so up to now my aim was to make you comfortable with calculated columns and measures and how to bring different tables and create relationship between them. Okay, so in future class we will have like how to create KPIs and hierarchies, partition, roles, and analyze in Excel. So I think in next two class we can finish this SSAS part. Okay.
I have one last question.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like if I add some new rows into the data warehousing, I mean data warehouse, like a few new orders. So this cube will get automatically refreshed, or
No. We will have
okay,
an option for that. So you are directly coming to this 14th topic, deploy one.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So when we, after preparation of the whole thing, we will deploy it on SSAS server, and there we will have an option of process data, which means when we, so I will give you a quick direction on that. So suppose this is something which I have created earlier. Okay, so I want to refresh the data of this cube. So come to this table and right click on any table and you will have a process table. Okay, so a new window will open here, and from the drop down select process full and select all tables. So we have selected process full, which means it will fetch the data from source, okay, and repopulate it into the cube, and again it will recreate the all measures. Okay, so when we click on it, it will, you can have a look here, like it will refresh the data from the source data warehouse. Okay,
Okay.
so we have an option. Obviously, After 2 days, you will have new rows into your data warehouse. So obviously we want that rows into our queue. So you can do like this when you right click on the, so before that you need to deploy this queue. Okay, so we will see. So actually you are stepping to the last step. Before that we have too many things, like we need to learn about the basics of DEX.
I
Okay.
didn't know that that was the last step.
Okay. Yes. But your question was there. Okay, so you can refresh like this. Okay, and we can further connect to your reporting tool. It may be your Excel, it can be your Power BI, or it can be your SSRS. Okay,
Okay.
so for now, today we covered this small 6 topics. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and tomorrow we will have these things. Okay, so we
Okay.
will. There is nothing big in this tabular modeling, but we can cover the all the things in next 2 class, and after that we will start on multi-dimensional thing. Okay,
Okay.
so there also we will have the same kind of work, but there we will have different methodology. Okay, so obviously there will be some different UI, mm, graphical interface will be different. Okay, but obviously we will there also we will have dimension and facts and measures and calculated columns. Okay,
Okay.
so we will do that also.
Okay.
So this was for today. We will be meeting tomorrow at the same time. Okay, that will be around 1:45. So other people,
145 IST, right?
yes.
Okay.
So I think here we have Priya and Sundar also. So I think Sundar is new to this class. So Sundar, do you have any doubt till now?
Actually, no.
Okay, so you skipped the SSIS part, but we can continue with SSIS. Okay.
Okay.
So I think this today is our second class on SSAS, but yes, we started from the basics. Okay, so Priya, are you there? Do you have any doubts? Okay, I think Priya is not there. So we will
No,
close this.
Sanjay. No doubts.
Okay. Okay, so because obviously this tabular thing is not difficult. Okay, so we can cover this thing in our next 2 class. Okay. So
Okay.
obviously we will do some complex works in our next class. Okay. So the what we will do in our next class will be like this calculated field. We will not have simple measures like count, order ID. So there will be nothing like this. We will have some complex business points. Okay. So we will try to finish those things in our next class. Okay. So I think bye for now, and we will be meeting tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye all.
Sorry.